Hello, everyone. This is Nathan Bridges from Nathan's Nuggets, and I'm with Jesse Madden. We're going to cover who we think will be in the top 10 in the NFL draft. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Nathan. I appreciate it.
Anytime. So, do you want to start with your number one?
Sure, I'll go first. With my number one pick in the 2021 NFL draft, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting quarterback Trevor Lawrence out of the University of Clemson. I think he's a slam dunk first overall pick. He has great size, great athleticism, and can make all the throws to be successful at the next level. And he's won a national championship and competed at a very high level for 3 years for the Clemson Tigers.
I have Trevor Lawrence as my number one, too, going to the Jaguars. There's a lot of great players in this draft, but there's no one who can touch him. He's the best. Like you mentioned, his size, he can make all the throws, and his running's a little bit underrated. Like he showed it like in the college football playoff 2 years ago against Ohio State. And then also he's only lost 5 games as a starting quarterback, so he's just a naturally born winner.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead with my second pick. I have Zack Wilson going to the Jets. He's the quarterback from BYU. And I don't know if this is going to work out for the Jets, but from what I've seen from the media, it looks like Wilson is going to go number 2 to the Jets. And I like the way he can make off-platform throws out when he's outside of the pocket. And he did a great job of carving up defenses on the BYU schedule, even though they didn't even play that many good opponents. I still think he's going to go number 2 overall, and it's going to be tough. I thought Sam Darnold did well with the Jets, but they weren't able to win with him, and we'll see how Wilson does.
I have Zack Wilson as my number 2. Also, just like the throws you see he made at the combine at BYU, and the season that he had this past season was one of the best, even though he didn't have the toughest opponents as some of the other quarterbacks. But I like him at number 2, but I don't know. It's going to be hard to win with the Jets because I don't think Sam Darnold was bad.
No, I agree. I thought Sam Darnold did a great job, but that organization is – I mean, they got a new coach, so that's good for Wilson, but the Jets, that was a tough job for Sam. For my number 3 overall pick, I have the 49ers, your San Francisco 49ers, selecting quarterback Justin Fields from Ohio State. And I really like this pick. I really like Fields. I don't really like the Niners. You know that. But I think Fields is going to be successful if he gets drafted number 3. And I think he will. He's very athletic, can make throws outside of the pocket like the 2 other guys. But he did it at a very high level in the Big Ten. Very similar to Trevor Lawrence. He only lost, I think, less than 10 games in his whole career. And I think he's going to be a great player at the next level.
I'm glad you don't have Mac Jones at number 3 because I don't want to see him going to the 49ers. But I have Fields also. I think his athleticism, and I want the 49ers. I think they should get a dual threat quarterback. Looking at all the cracks in the NFC West, I mean, Matthew Stafford isn't a dual threat, but his arm speaks for itself. But you got Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields. He has a great arm, so I think it'd be a good fit to get a dual threat.
Yeah, I agree. So for my 4th pick, I have Mac Jones going to the Falcons. Mac Jones is a quarterback from Alabama. I think this could work, and I think the Falcons will indeed end up taking a quarterback. But I don't think Matt Ryan is necessarily the problem in Atlanta. So I don't know if this is a pick that they really should make, but I think it's the pick they will make. And Mac's a winner. He went undefeated this year, only lost 1 game last year when he filled in for Tua, and that was to Auburn. I think he's a great player. He's super smart, and he can make all the throws to be successful at the next level.
So at my number 4, I have Kyle Pitts, a tight end from Florida. Now, usually tight ends don't go this high, but I think that I think the Falcons wanted Fields, and with my pick having the 49ers getting Fields, I think they go with Kyle Pitts and load up in the offense, which he's a beast. You just look at his film, his size, and I think that'd be good to have him, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, and Kyle Pitts for Matt Ryan to throw to.
Yeah, that would be a great offense, and that'd be fun if Pitts went to the Falcons. So for my 5th overall pick, I have the Bengals selecting Penei Sewell, offensive tackle from Oregon. And although he didn't play this past season in the Pac-12, I still think he's going to go this high in the draft. He's a freak of nature. He's so athletic and so strong, and he's going to be great. They need some protection for Joe Burrow, and I think this is just one big piece to build around Joe, and hopefully the Bengals can be successful this next year.
For my number 5, I have Jamar Chase from LSU in a reunion with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I think that the Bengals want to load up on weapons. They're coming together, and AJ Green, with his departure, they need to get another good, strong young receiver with him, as they also have T. Higgins. And I think that Joe Burrow would like to be reunited with him. So I have the Bengals taking Jamar Chase.
That's interesting. I was going to have a receiver go number 5, but then I realized, quarterbacks need protection, and that's why I put Sewell there. For my 6th overall pick, I have the Dolphins selecting Devonta Smith, the wide receiver from Alabama. He won the Heisman. His numbers were crazy this year, and although he doesn't have NFL-type receiver size, I still think he's going to be super successful. And obviously, Tua Tagovailoa is their quarterback, and he played with Devonta Smith at Alabama for 2 years. And I think that's going to be a great reunion, similar to the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase one that you had. But I really think this is going to work, and I think Tua will really get better by having his friend and receiver Devonta Smith on the same team as him in the NFL.
We both have reunions with quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Yep.
So at my number 6, I have Penei Sewell from Oregon. I think that the Dolphins are going to to help Tua to protect him. As like last year, they also took Austin Jackson from USC. I think they're going to load up the offensive lines that he has good protection, and Tua can take it to the next step with it.
Yeah. For my 7th overall pick, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman from Northwestern. And similar to what you just said about Sewell, protection for the quarterback is key in the NFL. And with the Lions bringing in Jared Goff as a new quarterback, I think it's key that they have some guys protecting for him. And I think Slater's also similar to Sewell. He's a freak of nature, and he impressed everybody at his pro day. And he's very versatile. I think he's played guard and tackle at the college level. So he'll transfer to the NFL very well, and I think he'll be a great player for the Lions.
He is a beast. Like, you look at those videos, they're all posting of him, like, his weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 7, I have Devonta Smith going to the Lions. I think that the Lions, with how you talked about Jared Goff coming in, I think they need to get offensive weapons, especially with Kenny Galladay. He signed to the Giants. They need some guys for Jared Goff to throw to, is because they only have Marvin Jones now, right?
Yep.
So I think they get Devonta Smith to help out Jared Goff.
They still have Hawkinson as their tight end. He's a beast. But as far as the wide receiver position, they need some depth.
His Heisman season speaks for itself, and playing against all SEC teams this year.
Yeah, so for my 8th overall pick, I have the Panthers selecting linebacker Micah Parsons from Penn State. And he had a great pro day combine. His numbers were incredible. He impressed everybody. And he also opted out of this season. So I don't really like that. But what he did in 2019 was so amazing, how he was the leader of that Penn State defense that went on to win the Cotton Bowl. And then he impressed everybody at his pro day. He just combines to be a great prospect. And I think the Panthers will end up taking him.
It's like how he led Penn State when they won the Cotton Bowl against Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he opted out of this season, still, from what he did. So my number 8, I actually have a trade in here. I have the Patriots trading with the Panthers to get Mac Jones from Alabama, which I think this is a great fit for Mac Jones through Bill Belichick, like what we saw with what he did with Tom Brady. I think that Mac Jones can succeed in this offense with the Patriots and the organization with Bill Belichick. And I think especially with the Panthers, they can get a lot from the Patriots, and with them being set at the quarterback position with Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah, that's a great trade. I think Mac would be successful if he went to the Patriots, and I think the Patriots could benefit from having a young quarterback like Mac. With the 9th overall pick, I have the Broncos selecting Gregory Rousseau, the edge rusher from Miami. And although Denver does have a good defense and they do have some good pass rushers, I think it's important to have depth at this position. And I couldn't really think of another guy that they were going to pick. I think Rousseau was the best player available for them at this pick. And unless they trade up to get a quarterback, because Drew Lock is probably not the answer, I bet they'd end up taking a defensive player like Rousseau. And that's why I have him at my 9th overall pick.
So keep loading up on that defense.
Yep.
For my number 9, I have the Broncos selecting Trey Lance, correct, from North Dakota State. Even though he played one season, he had a great season winning the FCS championship. And even though he doesn't have as many years of tape on him, I think that the Broncos, they don't want to have Drew Lock on their team anymore because he's not the answer. So, or at least not as their starting quarterback. So I think they take Trey Lance.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about having the Broncos get a quarterback, but I wasn't sure. I don't know if they're 100% sold on Trey Lance because I had the other guys go in the top 4, the other 4 quarterbacks. For my 10th overall, I have my Dallas Cowboys selecting Patrick Surtain, the defensive back from Alabama. I think he was the best defensive back in college football last year, and he's the best defensive back in this draft. I think he's a stud, and I hope the Cowboys do indeed end up picking him because we sure need it on our defense.
At number 10, I also have your Cowboys selecting Patrick Surtain, defensive back out of Alabama, just like how you mentioned, he best cornerback in college football. And all the receivers that he was covering in the SEC, you look at like Georgia there, George Pickens, right? And all the guys that he had to cover throughout that season. And the Cowboys do need some help at the defensive back position.
Yeah. Hopefully my Cowboys end up making the right choice.
All right. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, man. That was fun.
I was.